Welcome back to American Muscle. You know, the last time the United States was at war with either Mexico or Canada was, well, it was a long time ago. But when these muscle men from these three countries got together in LA to fight for their pro cards, they weren't there just to talk hockey and margaritas. John Kobick fills us in on the North American Championships.
Many people feel that the USA and Nationals are the toughest amateur events in bodybuilding. What they seem to forget is that other pro qualifier, the IFBB North American Championships. Not only does this event attract America's best amateurs, but an impressive delegation of Canadian and Mexican muscle athletes as well, all intent on turning pro. A total of 180 bodybuilders pack Aviation Park Auditorium to wage a border war on the stage. Is this an anatomy chart or a human? It's Dave Fisher, who represents Canada but now lives in Hermosa Beach, California. With the help of super trainer Chris Aceto, he achieved a level of contest condition that will be remembered for years to come. His routine featured endless hardcore shots that had the crowd screaming insanely, and had the contest been judged by an applause meter, Dave would have won hands down. His training program is deceivingly simple. In the off-season, it's heavy weights and heavy food, while pre-contest is heavy weights and no food.
This year was tougher. I died getting ready for this one because I had to make light heavyweight, and I had to drop my calories a lot to get into the weight class. So it hurt pretty bad. It was a tough one, real tough.
John Simmons, a police officer from the tough town of Detroit, appeared on stage with unbeatable shape to capture the light heavyweight class. He started training 8 years ago just to see how he would do, and last year he won the light heavy class at the NPC Junior USA. A former star athlete in football and wrestling, Jake, as he's nicknamed, is working on his degree to become a registered nurse. The 1991 NPC LA winner, Greg Reed, had a lot of confidence and support going into this show. At one point in his 7-year career in the Marine Corps, he was talked into entering a bodybuilding competition. His loss there inspired him to improve, which he has obviously done. Considered one of the best personal trainers in Orange County, Greg takes pride in his Christian beliefs and tries to reach people through bodybuilding. A great deal of controversy surrounded second-place finisher Canadian Paul Dillett. Few had heard of this gigantic ex-pro football player from Montreal. Mike Christian and nutrition expert Neil Spruce helped him carve his 300-pound frame into a ripped competition physique, complete with 23-inch arms. More legs will finish this 6'2" diamond in the rough. Winning the heavyweight class was this year's NPC California champion Ray McNeil from Oceanside, California. He began training at 17 to improve his football performance, and a few years later won the NPC Armed Forces Championships. He's gifted with superb proportions and boosted that by doing his dieting homework for this show. His wife is also a top-level bodybuilder, and should their children decide to train, they may become the biggest kids on the block. Ray has ambitions to become a new kind of pro.
I want to set a new trend if possible, you know. I want to be as big as Lee Haney and as ripped as Renell want to be.
Once it got down to the fight for the overall, there was no question as to who would claim the right to become a professional. The complete package that was Ray McNeil walked away with the crown. Showing that bodybuilding is a sport for the whole family, his 2 children climbed on stage to flex next to Dad, the duly crowned North American champion. For American Muscle, I'm John Kobick.
You can't do this overnight. I've been doing this, it's been 14 years for me. It's slow. I put on 5 pounds. I competed last year, I was 193. This year I was 197. You know, that's not a lot of muscle. And so you add that up year after year after year, you can't do it in 5 years. It takes a long time. Sure, you get your few genetic freaks with, you know, they turn pro at 21 years old or something like that, but there's not a lot of those around. My gains have been slow and hard, and a few pounds here, a few pounds there, heavy, hard training. That's the bottom line. When I step on stage next year, they're gonna go, yeah, he's ready.
The NPC Southern States drew the best men and women from the South to give it all they had on the posing platform. John Kobick will show you why the NPC Southern States was red hot this year.
Many didn't expect to hear from George BETANCOURT so soon. He had won the 1987 Southern States Teenage Division, but was beat out at the 1989 Teenage USA by Dennis Newman. Then he went on the following year to sweep the Teenage Nationals. Everyone expected George to take a couple years off before testing the waters in the open ranks. But the 19-year-old had no such plans and showed up with his trademark symmetry and shape to win the middleweight class. Light heavyweight winner David Marinelli has worked as a firefighter for 17 years, where the 1 day on, 2 days off workout schedule is tailor-made for bodybuilding. Not only did he not begin training until he was 30, but David never does aerobics, relying solely on his diet to get cut. For next year, he plans on gaining about 10 pounds to be a legitimate light heavyweight. In fourth place in the heavyweights was Nick SILLETTE. The big man was not in top shape here, but soon tightened up to win the overall at the Atlanta Musclemania Championships a month later. The 1987 Mr. Ohio was self-trained until 1988, when nutrition and training expert John Perillo offered his advice. Though he suffers from colitis, a serious intestinal ailment, Nick keeps improving and will take a year off to put on even more size. In third was Columbus, Ohio's Mike Francis, the Chicago Musclemania champion. The soft-spoken former seminary student packed a whole lot of mass and, as usual, had the crowd thrilled with his freak show of size and shape, with thickness that most bodybuilders can only dream of ever attaining. His quads were enormous, and Mike has guns over 22 inches around. This show was only a warm-up to Musclemania, where he ripped up and overwhelmed everybody. Much of his success this year has been attributed to his recent gains in muscle mass.
Took my calories up to around 10,000. I had a good trainer in Greg Gonzalez, pushing me every day in the gym. Just when you want to quit, he makes you go that extra, and that's where you grow. And that's, I feel, where my gains came.
Runner-up Ken Castagnoli had won overalls at the Eastern Seaboard and the 1986 Mr. New Jersey. His older brother started him in weight training. Then Ken bought his own gym 3 years later in New Jersey. He now owns the Athletic Club at Lighthouse Point, Florida, where Ken's great symmetry needs only to fill out to become a true national competitor. While others rode life cycles and climbed Stairmasters for hours a day, heavyweight winner Bruce West did no aerobics at all. After studying nuclear power and spending months underwater in a submarine, he developed the discipline necessary to become a champion. After 3 years of training, he was crowned overall Mr. Georgia, and the Southern States is only his fourth contest. The overall pose down resulted in a highly controversial decision. Many people assumed super ripped heavyweight winner Bruce West would receive the overall award, but instead 19-year-old middleweight George BETANCOURT took top honors. Not everyone was happy with that decision, calling it a fix. But when was the last time everyone agreed with every decision at any sporting event? From the Southern States, I'm John Kobick.
The 91 NPC Musclemania series is finally over. But let's take a look back now and see just how they affected bodybuilding as we know it. And we'll take a look at the 5 men who will now vie for the coveted title of NPC Musclemania Grand Champion.
The Musclemania events were by far some of the most exciting amateur bodybuilding contests of the year. And according to most of the fans watching each event, the competing bodybuilders were extraordinary. The 5 winners were truly sensational, almost too good to choose who should be the overall champion. So this month, you, the viewer, will have the opportunity to vote for who you think should become the Musclemania Grand Champion. Watch now as we review each winner both in contest form and at work in the gym. Afterward, you'll be able to vote for your champion by calling 1-900-PUMP-IRON. The Musclemania Tour started in Chicago with a gigantic heavyweight clobbering his competition. At 5'10" and 235 pounds, Mike Francis started serious training less than 3 years ago. The former Mr. Ohio has maintained a constant vigil of his body with a careful year-round nutritional program and heavy power-like training.
The appeal to me is to make my body better each time I go into the gym, each time I do a repetition, each time I do a set, just to take my body to levels that are really unknown right now to me.
The next stop on the tour was Atlanta, with another heavyweight class winner impressing the judges for the Musclemania title. Nick SILLETTE from neighboring Florida is originally from Ohio and was gutsy enough to make his first contest the state championships. Nick's 5'11" and weighed 225 pounds for Musclemania.
I started training when I was 13 years old, and my body responded really well to training, and I thought, you know, I was onto something. I thought eventually that I could be successful because the rate at which my body was responding.
Moving up the East Coast, the Musclemania Tour spent the weekend in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. But it was a New Yorker who would end up taking the heavyweight and overall title. Sal Princiato from Long Island stormed into Musclemania, actually hoping he would make the light heavyweight class, but ended up skidding into the heavies at 210 pounds, the lightest of the 5 Musclemania regional champions.
I want to give a good pro to the sport, and I want to get a lot of fun out of it. Because once it stops being fun, then to me it's just a job. Unlike this job, which is fun, I do 2 fun things in my life. I'm a fireman and I bodybuild, and you can't beat that.
From the Delaware Valley to the New England states, Musclemania moved further north to Providence, Rhode Island. You wouldn't think that a small city like Providence would attract much of a bodybuilding audience. But thanks to popular bodybuilders like Musclemania champion Teddy Lopes, nearly 3,000 muscle-crazed fans packed the Providence Civic Arena to form the biggest Musclemania crowd of the tour.
My brother inspired me, just seeing him working out and seeing the confidence that he had. And it's something that I wanted. And, you know, I wanted to be big and massive. And that's basically what I was lifting for at the time. And, you know, it helped my personality. I felt it made me a better person.
And to finish off the first annual Musclemania Tour, we besiege San Diego, California, with a powerful array of bodybuilders from the Golden State, including former NPC Teenage USA champion Dennis Newman. The 5'10", 230-pounder was by far the most popular contestant with a solid, muscular, and symmetrical physique.
My goals are to turn pro this next year, doing the USA, the North America, or the Nationals, whatever comes first, to win those and get them out of the way. I think by next year, putting on another 10 pounds, I think I can put a dent into the national scene, and I think I can do pretty well.
Now that you're familiar with the 5 Musclemania regional champions, here's your opportunity to vote who you think should become the 1991 Musclemania Grand Champion. Just call 1-900-PUMP-IRON. The call costs just 99 cents, and the results of this Musclemania 900 viewer poll will be announced on next month's program. Again, you can choose from Chicago Musclemania champion Mike Francis, Atlanta Musclemania champion Nick SILLETTE, Philadelphia Musclemania champion Sal Princiato, Providence Musclemania champion Teddy Lopes, or San Diego Musclemania champion Dennis Newman. All heavyweights, all impressive, all champions. You be the judge. On the pro scene, Victor Richards was recently signed by Weider Athlete Management. Since he's not a U.S. citizen, Victor will return to Nigeria for an expected easy win at their national championship in order to qualify for the 1992 Mr. Olympia. Since he's never won a contest, it's quite a shock to current pros that Victor is practically being given a pro card. Though he didn't have to rise through the amateur ranks like everyone else, it will be interesting to see what the 5'9", 290-pound Richards will look like. In proper contest condition, we hope.